The Dazn curse strikes yet again. Joseph Parker versus Dereck Chisora is now canceled. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang. Please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus. Link is in the description of all my videos, and it helps the channel. Definitely, I am an affiliate, and there's an upcoming UFC 243, I believe, with Robert Whitaker and Airbender, and that should be a good fight. Now, Eddie Hearn on his verified social media. Actually, before I get into that, let me start off by telling you, I actually filmed, so you see the B-roll that you see is now B-roll, but I filmed this video, and it was a lengthy video. It was like 11 minutes long in the car. You know, I was running some errands, and I decided when I got the news to record, and I filmed a video, but there was an error with the audio and the microphone picking it up, and it was too faint. So I just decided it'd be better to re-record voiceover style. So that's why I'm just laying over this audio, and the audio is not going to match up. But Eddie Hearn on his verified page, he says, due to illness, Joseph Parker is out of the Dereck Chisora fight for October 26th. We are working on a suitable replacement, and we'll make a further announcement this week. #boxing. So that's the latest. The Dazn curse strikes yet again. It's getting like the Drake curse and shit. It's just so many examples of this. Actually, Drake broke the curse in the Toronto Raptors. You know, they broke it at least for the time being. The Dazn curse keeps happening. You know, and I think Dazn really has to try to find some way to get a hold of this. We've had so many fights that have been disrupted on Dazn, scheduled fights, and through weird misfortune or illness or injury, failed drug tests, they have not happened. Drug tests, Gerald Big Baby Miller, that was supposed to be Anthony Joshua's coming to America party, coming out to America fight. And, who knows how he would have fared in that particular fight. He ended up losing to Ruiz, but Miller is a different fighter. Miller failed a drug test and was later dropped from Dazn, and the rest is history. Joshua subbed in Andy Ruiz, who beat him, and now we're getting a rematch December 7th. So that's one example. Another fight I was looking forward to was Billy Joe Saunders versus Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Meaningful fight. Both guys, are due up for kind of like a big name fight. It's just, you don't want to keep seeing skilled fighters fight non-big names. They have to get to some of the big names, and that was one of the fights that I was looking for, and Billy Joe Saunders failed a drug test, so that fight was canned, right? You have fighters like Daniel Roman, I believe, is injured. You had two guys moving up from cruiserweight to heavyweight to make their heavyweight debut, and that is Alexander Usyk and Murat Gassiev, who have actually faced each other at cruiserweight, and obviously Usyk beat him in the World Boxing Super Series. Now they're both decided to move up to heavyweight. Usyk, I guess he had a bicep tear, but he was supposed to be on a card in, I don't know, Maryland or something. And then they put Devin Haney in as the main event with Antonio Moran instead because he was injured with the bicep tear. Now he has it rescheduled for Chicago. And Murat Gassiev, from my understanding, has pulled out twice of a Joey DeVecco fight. He was supposed to fight on one card. He was injured or something, and then they tried to reschedule it. And Joey DeVecco went to social media and says, "Oh, Murat Gassiev's a chicken. He pulled out again, and I don't have a fight again with him." So that's another example of injuries and fights not happening. Ryan Garcia, another fighter recently, had this promotional spat with Golden Boy that got pretty messy, pretty sloppy public. And more importantly, he trained for a fight that was supposed to be a step up with Avery Sparrow to complement the Jaime Munguia versus Alati, which was a horrible fight. It was supposed to complement that particular card. And then Avery Sparrow didn't show up to the weigh-in, and people start scratching their head. Come to find out, it's because Avery Sparrow was trying to fly like a sparrow and evade the laws, and they caught up with him, and day before the fight or whatever, they arrested him on Friday. So the fight got canned. Golden Boy allegedly tried to get Petrov or Romero Duno, who Ryan Garcia is now facing on the Canelo Kovalev card later. They try to get these fights allegedly facilitated for Ryan Garcia. It didn't work, and bottom line is his fight got canceled. So that, I mean, this is just off the top of my head. Gerald Miller, Billy Joe Saunders. DAZN hasn't been out that long for all this. Murat Gassiev heavyweight debut, Usyk heavyweight debut, Daniel Roman injured. It was supposed to be a fight with Brian Rose and Fitzgerald, and he got injured, and it was they replaced it with Fowler, and then they canceled it. This is it just repeatedly keeps happening. Canelo was supposed to fight on the quote unquote Mexican dates, and they couldn't get Kovalev. They were lowballing him from what Kovalev said. Now they're fighting Kovalev, but this is after Kovalev looked pretty wounded. Most people believe Kovalev's on his last leg. He was almost stopped by Anthony Yard, who was very inexperienced, definitely in shape, strong kid, but he doesn't even spar, doesn't have the experience. So to me, with all these things, and I know this is not everything. I know there's a ton more that I'm not even covering. I'm just kind of paraphrasing, giving you guys the cliff notes of some recent examples of fights that are falling apart on DAZN. Now add Joseph Parker to the list with the Dereck Chisora. This is a heavyweight fight. They had a card with Lawrence Okoli, and this is a rematch room, and I believe the whole card got scrapped or moved or something. So DAZN got to figure this out. These cards keep getting canceled and fighters pulling out of main cards. David Lemieux, that's another person. David Lemieux, who's seen David Lemieux? He was supposed to move up to 168, and then he pulled out of that fight because he was injured. Then that was on one Canelo card, right? And he was supposed to fight on the Canelo Jacobs card at 168, pulled out, said he was injured, and he was supposed to fight on Canelo Fielding undercard, and he put himself in the hospital because he was dehydrated because he couldn't make 160. So this is really a recurring issue, and now we haven't seen David Lemieux fight since. I don't even remember the last time I watched David Lemieux fight. Curtis Stevens or Billy Joe Saunders, whatever happened later. You know what I'm saying? It's been some time. Or maybe Spike O'Sullivan. Maybe it was that. I mean, I don't remember because it's been so long. It's one of them fights probably. But this is not a good look for DAZN's calendar. And then they're banking on two YouTubers who, are supposed to carry a card. That's a whole different market. I'm telling you, they're trying to pit this as like, oh, now the YouTube millennial generation is going to be interested in boxing. Yeah, it sounds nice, but I've seen some of the comments, and they don't know who Billy Joe Saunders is and Artur Akov and Demetrius Andrade, the guys like that. So I think it's just really two different worlds. We'll see how it plays out. They're trying to get some money. It's really a money grab to me, but DAZN got to figure this out. Joseph Parker, if he's ill, he's ill. But my thing is, it just keeps happening. The DAZN curse keeps striking. People keep pulling out, keep getting injured. Golden Boy, a bunch of prospects lost. It's just, it's been bad. Diego De La Hoya lost. They've had some main events that weren't really eventful. Cancillo upset Machado twice. It's just been DAZN, big star in Anthony Joshua lost to Ruiz in bad fashion, one-sided dominant fashion. It's been a lot, man. It's just been a lot of like mishaps and blunders and different things like that. You can't control, like, I guess, outcomes of fights. You can just matchmake and make the best fights that you can. But as far as you can't really control someone being sick or pulling out injury. But maybe if there's a history or a pattern of it, then you try to do something about it. Like, okay, David Lemieux pulled out of the Rocky Fielding card. And then you put him on another Canelo card, the Canelo's very next fight, right? And then he pulled out of that with injury. So I feel like with all these mishaps and pullouts, and you got Dillian White, his B sample's not clear. Where's his B sample? he beat Oscar Rivas, got dropped in the fight, but did enough to win. And then now we're supposed to forget about his failed drug test and B sound. It's just a lot of craziness going on with Dazn. So for me, you know, you can't really control if people get injured or sick or failed drug tests or whatever. But if it's happening this often and with this level of frequency, I really feel you should do something about it in terms of maybe really analyze your matchmaking to see if it makes sense. That's one thing. 2, have people on injured reserves and have backup plans already kind of in place for the bigger cards. You know, how do you not have Ryan Garcia got 3.4 million people? His fight was in SoCal. He did an 8 to 10 week camp and he's popular. He was arguably the main event, not Jaime Munguia. People were coming out to see Ryan Garcia. How you don't have no backup plans or knowing you can shoe-ins or whatever for Ryan Garcia? That's just bad business to me. That man has all that popularity, and you don't. They didn't do that to Gervonta Tank Davis with PBC. Abner Matas pulled out last minute, his eye detached retina, and then they found something, you know, so Gervonta could get a paycheck and get that camp up off him. And they put in Hugo Ruiz. Like, you couldn't do that for Ryan Garcia. Find nobody. You know, he just gets removed from the card. And then Jaime Munguia versus Aladi was horrible. You know, it's just these things are bad. And then it's just a waste of resources. Joseph Parker versus Dereck Chisora, they filmed the behind, or the gloves are off, or whatever it's called, the face-off thing. They filmed one. So people, ticket buyers, people who are planning on going to fight, they might have watched that and be like, oh, I got to check this fight, at least at a domestic level. And then now they can't get it. So something's got to give. People in Maryland want to see Usyk in May, you know, and then now they can't because he's injured. It's just, this keeps happening. And I know if there's some that I forgot, put in the comment section, but they got to figure this out. They really do, because Dazn is still a new imprint, and it's just not a good look with all these pullouts and failed drug tests and fights collapsing last minute. Fans want to see tickets. They better hope this doesn't happen with KSI and Logan Paul 2 or Canelo Kovalev, because, you know, then you'll really say the Dazn curse is real. Let me know what you guys think. Joseph Parker, Dereck Chisora is off. So most likely, you know, they're going to put in Dereck Chisora with somebody at heavyweight that no one wants to see. It's not going to be Chisora versus F.A. Ajagba, Adam Kanaski or something. You know, it's going to be probably a domestic level fight, you know. So between that and Eddie Hearn doing fighterless press conferences, because Andy Ruiz was at a standoff and saying he wasn't fighting in Saudi Arabia, and so they ran the press conference. They have David Price. They just did a press conference. His opponent wasn't there. They didn't have an opponent, so they did a face-off with Eddie Hearn and David Price. Like, that stuff is not funny. It just looks unprofessional. And I just went to Fox's presentation for Spence Porter, and it was very professional. You get what I'm saying? The presentation, you know, is, to me, it's not fun for gags, and especially when it looks farcical that these matches keep breaking up nonstop, you know. But they could play around if they want to. But for a new business, I feel like you have to be on point with it. You know, if I open a new restaurant today, my first year is going to be imperative. How I make the customers feel in that first year. You know what I'm saying? So Dazn raising prices, all that stuff, they got to get a hold on this, or get some backup plans, or, you know, just have better cards altogether, to the point where David Lemieux's off the card. You're like, fuck it. It's still a good card. Like Pacquiao Thurman, John Molina was supposed to be on the card. He got injured, but the card was still good without John Molina's fight. He was supposed to fight Lipinets, I believe. You get what I'm saying? So you got to, like, fill out the cards maybe. So to the point where, like, okay, Joseph Parker versus Dereck Chisora is now off, but we got this good substitute fight, you know? Or we got a slamming undercard of major fights that people want to see. But really, the bread and butter to that card was Dereck Chisora and Joseph Parker. I don't really even know who's on the undercard. It definitely wasn't no big fights that I remember, you know? Let me know what you guys think of the Dazn curse. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.